Hey man, this is Deem and I am your host, and this is By Any Means. There go to PayPal at Deem by Any Means. You should see a picture of Malcolm X. If you don't, that is not me. And then you got the Cash App, $ Deem by Any Means. I truly appreciate every last single one of y'all. I don't care if you send a dollar, a $5, $10, $100. It is much appreciated. But what I need everybody to do for me, can we all just stop the cat, please? Why we hate on boxing so much? People say that they love boxing, but then they hate on it so much. Now, I am not one person that is happy how the start of 2024 has started for boxing. But then I listened to my guy Fanon, and he made a great point, man. For shout out to Fanon Boxing. Go over there and subscribe. Go link in the chat. Go ahead and go talk in the chat the whole nine. Go show Brody some support, man, because he be doing this thing. And what he brought up is something that I didn't think about, but it made sense. Is that these major? I was about to make a video coming at why 2024 has started off so badly, but it's still football season, and you're competing against football season, and you're competing against the most important time in football season. You might not want to do that. And some of the biggest stars in boxing don't do that for a reason. And that makes sense. So touche. I had to, I got to concede on that point. That's why I didn't make the video. Keith Thurman and Tszyu will be a great fight. So all this, oh man, how they starting off like this and all that. I don't know what y'all see or what y'all know about boxing, but Keith Thurman is a great boxer, and so is Tszyu. Neither one of them is a walk in the park for anybody that steps in that ring with them. I know y'all don't like Keith in the way he talk. It doesn't change the fact that the only person to beat Keith Thurman was Manny Pacquiao. It doesn't change the fact that Keith Thurman is one of the bigger stars that we've had in the last 10 to 15 years. It doesn't change the fact that Tszyu got the pedigree of a real fighter, his father being a fighter, a champion, I believe, during his time. Tszyu ain't no slouch, dog. Tszyu is a pressure fighter. Tszyu is somebody who has a great IQ in there. Tszyu does a great job at cutting the ring off, very good ring generalship. His offensive skills, he's a B at everything. He's not great at nothing, but he's a B at everything. His defensive skills, he's about a C+, but his heart and his ring generalship and his effective aggression, he's an A+ there. That's what makes him good. He's like that basketball player that's a 75 at ratings, but all the intangible things he does very good, so that put his rating at like an 85. Y'all play 2K, y'all know what I'm talking about. Tszyu is a good fighter, man. And he's something that everybody has to deal with if you cannot deal with that pressure and his power. And he does have power in both hands. Tszyu has power in both hands. And he's going to be disruptive. He's not going to stop. He is constant pressure. To me, he's a better version of Issa Cruz. And he's a little smarter than Issa Cruz in a way of how he applies the pressure. Keith Thurman, I got Tszyu in that fight if they do fight. But that's only because Keith Thurman is a little older, and I've seen how Keith Thurman dealt with Manny Pacquiao pressure, but Manny Pacquiao is a smaller fighter than a Tszyu. So I got to see how you do with somebody around your height, your weight, because you see what Manny did to him. So, yeah, that's the parts I got to see. And you are much older, and you weren't that active in 2023. If at all. I don't even know. I'm not even sure if Keith Thurman fought this year or not. But that's going to be a good fight because I could easily, y'all, see Keith Thurman going in there and boxing his head off. Because I was impressed by what Keith Thurman did against Mario Barrios. It looked like he was serious. It looked like he was taking his craft very serious. His footwork was on point. He looked more aggressive than he even normally did. And that was like, I seen a little more dog in him. Like he was dead serious. And I like that. I like that Keith Thurman. Listen, man, y'all got to learn how to take you not liking somebody outside of the ring and being able to assess their fights inside the ring. Like, I'm not the biggest Devin Haney fan for a multitude of reasons, but outside of the ring, I like Dev actually as a person. I think Dev is a great young man. I think Dev take care and show love. I think Dev is, you got to promote yourself in a boxing thing. So whatever y'all think about him on the Twitter stuff and all that is one thing, but I'm talking about who he actually is with his family, his sister, his dad, his mother, the people that's around him. I think Dev is a good person, a great young man in that way. He stays out of trouble, don't smoke, don't drink, always in the boxing ring. He's never disrespectful to media and reporters unless they really saying something crazy about him or something that he really don't like. But for the most part, he keeps it very, very down the middle. Um, and walks in faith in a certain way. And that's what I like about Devin Haney. And just because I'm not the biggest fan of him and I gotta debunk all these lies that his fans be doing, it doesn't change the fact you're not going to get me to go in there and say that Devin Haney is just going to get his ass whipped by anybody just because you don't know. That don't work like that, bro. It don't work like that. You could think whatever you want to think about Devin Haney. He's a great goddamn boxer, and you think that you're just gonna go in there and whoop his ass. Well, okay, go ahead and do it then. Go try to do it. I doubt that's how it turns out, but okay. Same thing with Keith Thurman. I basically feel the same way about Keith Thurman that I feel about Devin Haney. Prior to years, Keith Thurman was my Devin Haney. As far as all the criticism and just doing the lies and the talking and the propaganda, especially when Keith Thurman had it. But it doesn't change the fact of what he could do in that ring. And inside that ring, Keith Thurman got great footwork. He is not flat-footed. Keith Thurman is going to stick behind that jab. Keith Thurman is going to come forward. He's going to move back. He's going to move side to side. Keith Thurman going to keep you thinking in that ring. That's one thing he's going to do. And he'll start styling on you in there. If you get lackadaisical and if he finds a weakness in you, he's going to attack it. He has that dog in him. He has the killer instinct. That's why they called him one-time Thurman. Because you got one time to make a mistake, and he's going to capitalize on it. I promise you that one. But Tszyu is also one of the better pressure fighters that you could do a class on as far as if you're going to be that type of fighter. This is what you got to do. She does a very, very great job at breaking down the distance. He does a very great job at sneaking in. I keep telling y'all about somebody sneaking in, easing in. You could either do what De Los Santos did versus Shakur Stevenson. That's not going to work where you're lunging in. No, you got to sneak in. You got to be willing to take that jab and move that head a little bit and be willing to go into the fire to get the result that you're looking for. Tszyu lives there. He has no problem with that. You want to make the fight dirty? That's actually what he wants to do. He wants it to be rough and tough and rugged, blood, sweat, and tears. That's what he wants. He don't want it to be the fight that Keith Thurman wants it to be, where he's boxing on his back foot, styling, looking pretty, jab straights. You hear me all day. I can see Keith Thurman trying to jab straight his head off all day long. That's what I would do. Oh, you got to stay behind his jab, sir. Every time you dip your head side to side, you're going to see a punch coming from that angle. I promise. But to just crap on a fight and act like that fight is not going to be a good, very entertaining fight. I'm just not on that side of the fence with y'all. Y'all can stay over there. This is a good fight for boxing. This is a good fight for actually both fighters because Keith needs somebody like Tszyu to get him reacclimated to boxing, and it ain't too many people I could say I would rather put you in there against if you've been on the layoff, if you really want to challenge yourself. And Tszyu needs a name like this to keep boosting his resume to get his Errol Spence, Jerron Ennis, Bud Crawford fights. Stan Jonas and those guys. That's something that this is something he needs. Because once he does this, say if he knocks out Keith Thurman, Tszyu going to get those other fights. He's going to fight one of the guys that I named. He's fighting somebody. And that'll keep his career continuing to go on and him be a live dog. I see Tszyu in that 154 division being similar to a Sean Porter was, just a tyrant in the division. And there's nothing wrong with being that type of fighter. You could build a very good, great legacy off of doing that, off of being a guy that was fighting all of them. So, man, y'all know what this is, man. Deem by any means. There go to Cash App. I appreciate every last single one of y'all. $ Deem by any means. There go to PayPal at Deem by any means. You should see a picture of Malcolm X. I appreciate y'all, and y'all get at me.